My name is Stephanie Liston. I am a member at this church, Adventure Christian Community. I'm the children's director at Adventure. I'm also the pastor's wife. This is one of our classrooms that we're meeting in. This is one of the classrooms that I'm in charge of, preschool. I do everything from 1 month old to 6th grade, so I handle all of the activities and curriculum and things for that. Deep down inside, I don't feel like a creative person. So one of the reasons that I feel uncreative and not a creative person is because years ago someone told me that I wasn't creative because I don't do original art. I like to draw, I like to paint, I like to make crafts, I like to sew and all those kind of things. But because I use patterns or I, draw a landscape that God created, I'm not creating anything new. I don't make original art, and so therefore I'm not creative. And I put that down inside of me, and this request to do this video kind of brought that up, and I realized that that's a lie that has gone down inside of me, and I'm made in the image of God, and because I'm made in the image of God, I have God's characteristics, His Holy Spirit inside of me, and with that I have God Himself, and God is a creative person, and because God made me creative. I may not be labeled as a creative person, but I am creative, and so that lie that I have been believing about myself, it's just that. It's a lie. It's not true. I've let other people's words and opinions of me affect who I am, and I need to listen to what God says I am. The first person I went to was my son, because he works in a creative industry. He's in marketing, and so I went to him and I said, "Oh my gosh, I've been asked to do this video on creativity, expressing God's creativity in my everyday life." And he said, "You can do that, Mom." I said, "But I'm not creative." And he said, "Mom, you're very creative." And we talked about how the lie has affected me and what I believed, but he also gave me great advice. And he said that I am looking at the word creative as an adjective, that it describes me, where I need to look at creative as a verb, that I exercise God's creativity in my life every day. When I problem solve, when I look at how we're going to teach 4-year-olds about the crucifixion, because that's very difficult to teach. How are we going to teach that, and how can I still bring the truth of that story without the maybe the graphic part of that story? So we exercise creativity all the time. I exercise creativity when we plan these classrooms. Each of these classrooms have a different theme, just for fun, but they're creative. I exercise creativity when I take a meal to somebody's house and I decide, they can't have this particular ingredient, so I tweak the recipe and things. So we exercise creativity all the time, and that helped me so much, because you want to compare yourself to other people all the time. You want to look at people who are quote unquote very creative, and you want to say, well, I'm not her, or I'm not him, so I'm not creative, or I don't do this, I don't do these things, so I'm not creative. But that's not true, because God made you, and you're creative, and you're created in His image, and you have His creativity along with His love and His power and things. So looking at creativity as a verb instead of an adjective changed my whole perspective on it, gave me the confidence to be able to do that, recognizing the lie that was inside, from a well-meaning person. Wasn't a person who, just said that to be hurtful, but, the only person who creates from nothing is God. We can't do that. Everything is there's nothing new under the sun, and so we always take our inspiration from the things around us that God made. So we all are creative because we're made in His image. So internally, I'm not struggling anymore with that voice in my head that's going, you're not creative, you're not creative. Because now I'm starting to see things in my life like, oh, that was an exercise of creativity. That was creative, what we just did, and stuff. And like the other day, I had an epiphany. I was making this recipe, and it looked good, but there were ingredients in it that I knew my husband wasn't going to eat and things, and so I was going to have to redesign that recipe. And so I took basic elements from it, and I created my own recipe for something that tasted amazing. And it just dawned on me. It's like God tapping me on the shoulder going, creative. Creative and things. And so it's been helpful to overcome that lie, that I've been carrying around inside. I now have God's truth to replace that. I have encouragement from my friends who, have helped me see the lie for what it is and to overcome that.